So that was the Dallas rag. It involves some interesting stretches that you're going to have to master. And the best way to master any stretch, really, is to really have that thumb instead of towards the top here, but have it more in towards the back, in the middle of the neck, because that's going to allow you to get these little stretches. You can see my wrist is stretched out like that. Its wrist is bent and underneath the fingerboard rather than behind it. And that's going to be important to get these little stretches. I'll show you an example. Now, getting that little stretch with the G7 is important throughout this song. So you can, just kind of get into that little chord there and just get it, check where your hand is, and that's where your handle have to be in order to get this first measure. Now, the first measure starts with the G, get that back into the A flat, and as you bring it up, pinch the fourth and third string. So we have, all right, well, let me get that third finger there. Now you're going to bring in your pinky on that B flat note. So now I'm going to hit the open second string and then get right over to the G. Then I'm going to bring that first finger back and hit this like that. So we have okay, so that's that first little move, and you just practice that move, practice the stretching. That's going to help you out with the whole rest of the tune. So you get that. You get that little. Now into that next measure we have. So we have this. And then finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it open strings, fifth and first, and then come down with my second finger and my second finger and my pinky, just like that. So we have this. Now, my thumb is going back and forth through those bass strings here, and I'm alternating sometimes between my first and second finger. My first and second finger is doing a lot of the work here, so I would advise just working that out to see which is more comfortable for you. We're going to the next chord, which is just a C chord, basic C chord. So here the bass is going back between the fifth and the fourth string, but I'm stretching my pinky, and it's an interesting stretch here to get that little B note. Now you could, that's another way to do it. I kind of like the tone of that B here as opposed to this, a little thicker, but you can do it however you'd like. You can do the way it's in the tab. Or, I mean, that's a little easier anyway, but I kind of like getting that little note in there. But that's just me. Now, we're going to come up, the next chord in here that we're going to be coming up to is just a little bit of a C6. And we're going to get that little chord where we're barring the first three strings. Kind of looks like an A minor, but we're really thinking about this as a C6 with an E in the bass. Our bass is going to go back and forth between the fifth and third string, and we're going to get our pinky. So we have pinky, then pick it up. So that's that fourth measure on that first line. Now here's the chord that took, it takes a while to get used to, okay? But again, there's the chord here. What it is just, it's a G7, so I got the G, I have the G here, and it's just like this shape here, but on the 5th and 3rd string at the 10th fret. And what you're going to be doing is getting that pinky out here and getting that first finger out here. Now I don't hold that chord. What I'm actually doing is just, and here I'm using my first finger on the 2nd string and my middle finger on the 1st string, so I have now I'm going to go so we have this little stop action, you know, where we get so I go the E flat to the E, then the B to the C, and then a little lick. So I have this G, A, pull it off to the G, and then the E flat, E, C, A, and G. And sometimes I'll alternate my fingers, or you can use your first finger to do all of that, as long as you can, you know, keep it up to speed. So we go right back into it. This is our 3rd line now. And we're going right back to what we did in the 1st line. So we have right, and then we get it right up into there, and right back at. Now we go into the last line on that page, and this is one of my favorite little it's just a wonderful little sound, because we get this moving bass on, while we have this other melody going on. So let's take a look at that just before we get to everything here. We're going to go into this little weird little chord, but I want you to think of this, you know, basically, you know, as an F6. Okay, we get the F, we have a D in there. There's a 6, and we have, you know, the C in here as well. Now I'm borrowing my first finger across the first 3 frets of that 7th fret. I'm going to get my 2nd finger here on the F note. My alternating bass is going to be between the 5th and the 3rd string, and I'm going. So I'm getting that little melody as I'm going. Okay, so that's that little move there. Then we're going into a C. It basically, I guess, there's the C chord here that we start out with, but it quickly moves away from that chord. So we start out with the C, and our bass note is going to be always on the 3rd string with my thumb, and we start out with bringing out a C chord. Then it's like a sort of like a little G shape here. We get the G and the B, and then the pinky. So we have, then bring that back, then to the open G. Now here, I'm going to put the bass note on the 4th string, but I'm also going to grab my melody note here, because my melody there's my melody there. But I want this in the bass. So I'm going to combine with my pinky the bass note here in the G, but the melody in the open G. Now I'm going to bring my first finger back to the B flat, the A flat rather, and then move it up, and as I move it up, I'm going to grab my E note. So we have, then get your third finger in on the B flat note. And then once you get that B flat, you're going to hit the open and second, fourth and second string. So we have an E, another E, a D, so we have, and then C. So we have, so that's just an interesting little part. It's a wonderful little part there. And what you can do at this point, you can repeat right back up to the beginning again. Come back down to the that last line on the first page and play the first three measures, but instead of playing the next measure, jump over to the last measure where it says in number 2. So we have this now. There's the last measure. So we have C, B and an E, B flat and an F, F sharp and an A. So we have this, oh, I'm sorry, we got the, yeah. That's it. Now you notice the bass is going while you have the melody. So we have a nice little counterpoint there. Just like that. And what's interesting about that is the fact that you can see how the bass it's just constantly moving back. That's one of my favorite parts in this whole thing. So that's the first page of part 1. In the next video, we're going to continue it into the second page, and this is all of part 1.